This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Orlando, Florida. I'm here with Growth Marketing Firm. Since 2017, they've been helping companies with inbound marketing and sales automation services, locally, nationwide, and across the globe. I'm joined here with Will Davidson, who is the Director of Business Development. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You joined the company here in 2020. Prior to that, you've had experience in business development. You've actually served as a CEO as well, be it working with fleets on the West Coast, all the way to sales teams on the East Coast. Really, your passion is about growth of companies. Share with me a little bit why you felt this was a good fit for you.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you being here in Growth Marketing Firm HQ. And sales and biz dev has been in my blood for probably 10, 15 years, growing up in a billboard company and evolving into marketing agencies. And, about a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to come on with Growth and was offered a position due to, prior relationships with Chris, our agency owner. And we both decided that it was time to kind of build a sales arm here at Growth Marketing Firm. It's been quite a few years at this point, but here we are, and we're scaling exponentially, and we're excited to provide our services to those that need it.
Speaking of here we are, the year 2020 is behind us as most companies out there attempt to survive, hopefully to thrive. Even if they're the best at what they do, if nobody ever knows about them, they're going to disappear. Why is marketing more important probably today, even back in 2017 when this company launched?
That's a great question. What we kind of preach here at Growth is putting the right message in front of the right person at the right time. And a lot of big companies fail to do that, nor do they have the strategy and or tools to make that happen. With us, we have been one to really embrace sales and marketing automation software, which companies are starting to do, but it's still, fairly new in the marketplace, and that's kind of where we, leverage ourselves and our skill set to introduce sales and marketing software, i.e. Hubspot, to really help these companies scale, increase revenue growth.
That is interesting. Basically, it was an ancient Greek phrase, I believe, that said, know thyself. In order for organizations out there to effectively market, why is that discovery on the front end so important about understanding specifically who they are, what they're providing, and why is that important for them to have a clear vision of that?
Well, you nailed it with that one, because one of our core services and competencies is discovery and strategy. So we've come across a lot of clients that have proactively looked to market, but have had some issues or haven't been successful in the past, but really leveraging that kind of discovery and strategy phase before getting into what I call putting the pedal to the metal with inbound marketing and ads and things like that requires a lot of research on who the buyer is, what the content they need to see is, and where that content lives. And that's where we leverage discovery and strategy with our inbound marketing services.
Know thyself is one thing. The organization now understands who they are, what they're really offering. You bring it a level up from there. You're basically telling them also to know their competition, know thy enemy, if you will. Mm-hmm. Why is that important that they know basically who they're up against?
Well, competitive analysis is huge, and I really enjoy that portion of it, because a lot of companies and a lot of personas see companies out there that are proactively doing something maybe better than they are, mm-hmm. or they kind of want to emulate what they're doing from maybe a branding, marketing, sales, or operations perspective, and allows our team of researchers and or strategists to get in there, under the hood as we call it, really diagnose what those companies are doing from a sales, from an ad perspective, SEO keyword. It gets real granular and allows us to really build upon that when we build out inbound marketing strategies and next step solutions to really leverage them and position them above their competition.
So they know themselves, they know their competitors, sometimes better than their competitors know mm-hmm. themselves.
Yep.
And then basically, ultimately, it's about knowing who their customer is, who that audience is. Is it pretty common that a lot of organizations out there really don't have a clear idea of who that niche market is?
Exactly, and that's what we kind of call like a core buyer persona, where a lot of companies are doing what I call spray and pray, where they're putting out ads or content to the masses and hoping something catches, but until you know who your buyer persona is, a lot of people know, we want to work with a large company or something like that. It gets a lot more granular, like who that person that's making that buying decision is, what some of their characteristics are, what some of the content they like to see, where that content lives, is a really important aspect of it before you get out to putting content that's tailored to that person that's going to catch their eye and make them make that next step solution or buying decision.
Obviously, you can't reveal the secret of all you do in the discovery part of it. But obviously, initially, it's a lot about you listening to what their needs are. How long does that process take, and what kind of takes place during that discovery?
Well, yeah, that's what I call active listening. That's something that Chris has preached with me because, with me previously, I was one to jump to, solutions or conclusions where it is our discovery strategy takes about 45 days and it, requires a kickoff call with all the key stakeholders of a client's team and our team where, if it's a web-based, SEO audit, then our engineers will work with them on that. Typically 45 days, like I mentioned, our account manager will ask them a series of questions on the kickoff to really pinpoint who their company is, what their goals are, most importantly, what their major pain points are, because like we said, we like to solve for pain and help achieve goals. But then we get into buyer persona development, we get into marketing audits, pinpointing the goods and bads of what they're doing from a marketing perspective. We diagnose their sales process, what kind of software they're using, what kind of outreach, what kind of return they're getting. And then we, I can't give you all the sauce, but then we get in and then we kind of provide what we feel are next step solutions as well as like a full reporting so they can get an eagle's eye view of where their company is and where it needs to be and what needs to happen in that period to get them to that next level.
That is interesting. So basically this in-depth process, they can pretty much walk away from that with pretty good value itself. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously they want to probably turn to you now and where you put together a marketing strategy. That's really the cornerstone of what you're able to provide. And this, once you've got all this together, this is a very customized approach, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah. I mean, no company or company's needs or goals are the same. So it really depends on what their overall goals are. And that kind of introduces like RevOps, which we're really starting to embrace here at Growth. But it's all custom tailored towards their company, their industry, whether they are an established company that's looking to scale exponentially. They may not have software to fall back on, and that's why we really start to preach the use of HubSpot sales, marketing, and service software that allows them to really streamline their operations for those respective departments and do their jobs a lot more effectively and efficiently.
Let's talk a little bit about some of that software. I mean, you're basically one of the tools you have in your arsenal is the fact that you're a platinum partnership with HubSpot. Give me an overview of that particular software and why it's so important when it comes to interconnectivity.
Well, HubSpot started as a basic CRM, which a lot of us are familiar with, which is like the customer relationship management tool, which initially was kind of like a database to store contacts and see what's out there and interact, as well as you can. And over the years, it's evolved into a full suite of solutions and tools for sales, marketing, service, operations, and now even CMS departments that can really leverage the use, the automation to really expand their footprint in their respective industries. I use HubSpot on a daily, and hourly basis from a sales perspective, and it's made my job that much more effective and efficient, being able to communicate with more people in the right way at the right time.
That is interesting. So this is not sales of yesteryear by any means. We've definitely expanded. You're not only a partner, but you're a certified partner with HubSpot. That means you're basically spending in upwards of 250 hours per year, making sure that you're updated. You know the latest strategies, the latest softwares. Obviously, the end goal after all that training is the fact that you're able to share this one-on-one in person with your clients. Is that exciting to kind of bring some of that stuff to the table?
Well, that's exciting because a lot of companies out there have the software that people need, but the people that need it don't know how to use it or how to onboard it. And without proper onboarding and integrations and migrations, it gets real difficult and granular. It's not going to be effective because it needs to be set up effectively, whether it's from like a consulting perspective or like a hand-holding perspective where our team of engineers gets in there and builds out the entire system and platform based off of how they need it and how they plan on using it and what goals are kind of attached to it. So, if it's strictly on marketing, then our marketing engineers can get in there and build out, workflows and landing pages, things like that. If it's more geared towards sales, then we can build out, sequences, follow-up cadence, deal pipelines, things like that. And then if it's on the web, we can start building out the platform to where their teams can build out their respective websites and landing pages themselves and really start to capture a lot of data. So
That is great. If a company out there doesn't have a clear branding in place when they start this process, is this something you're able to help them with as far as the branding, the design, or maybe even get them to update or rebrand?
Yeah, great question. And kind of the backstory with growth is initially with growth, we were, years ago, was focused more on kind of the brand development, worked with some huge brands that a lot of people know about, Jack Daniels, Aloft Hotels, and more, where the focus was on brand development, bringing products to market, things like that. So we're very well versed in brand development, and kind of brand overhauls, because a lot of brands kind of hit that, that place in life, or company life cycle where it's time to kind of modernize and give that a refresh and get it ready for, the next 20, 50, or 100 years. So.
Interesting. I mean, you're really taking care of every aspect of the marketing for these clients, all the way down to their website. Regardless of what you're helping them with, everything is really targeted and set up to go after that target niche that you found in the discovery process. Is that pretty much across the board?
Yeah, I mean, all of our services are custom tailored towards a specific niche, industry, or goal. With us being one of the few agencies that does everything in-house, there's very few agencies that can really say they do everything under one roof, because a lot of them are subbing things out to contractors, farming things out overseas. But here at Growth, we do absolutely everything, because if a client or, our target client, which needs multiple things, why have multiple people with their hands on it when we can bring everything under the Growth umbrella and really see that, ROI and effectiveness really blow up for them. So.
Blow up for them. That's the goal.
Yep.
Like you mentioned earlier, right message with the right person, even at the right time. I mean, at the end of the day, the mission here is to attract, engage, and delight. Is that exciting for you guys to witness on this end when you see all that come together for somebody, and that sales funnel fills up in a way that they weren't quite expecting? Possibly?
Yeah, that's a great Hubspot mention right there, because like I said, right message, the right person, right time, like a lot of other people like to just put as many messages in front of as many people at different times, where it's got to be really, dialed in, or else it's going to, ultimately be a waste of money for people. Yeah, you might get a lead here and there, but in in today's marketplace and the things that we've been dealing with over the past couple of years, it's really important to be really dialed in, have the research and strategy behind it, have the right content behind things, and the overall strategy to really leverage yourself, above your competitor.
So like in life, focus is important rather than just throwing it out there. Obviously, with an effective marketing in place that you're able to do, these companies have to make sure they have a sales team in place that can handle that. Share with me, is that an area that you provide training for, and also a blueprint for those sales teams?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, sales is my middle name. That's a joke, actually. But, with our agency, there's a lot of agencies out there that don't have a sales arm. We're one of the few that does, because we're looking to get, our skill sets and our solutions and our help in front of the right people, as many people as we can possibly help. Now, with sales teams, a lot of established companies may have kind of maybe older, sales approaches and outreach programs and things like that, where it allows us to either help their, bring their sales teams up to, modern times, or if their sales teams are having an issue, whether it's like pipeline generation, their use of, software, if they're using it, it allows us to go in there and kind of build out what we feel is the best way to generate leads, or prospects leads, and how to interact with those people in order to ultimately convert them as a client,
Definitely not an area you want to be antiquated in when it comes to business today. I mean, a sales team, they're dealing with a lot of data, a lot of information that's being funneled through them. Why is automation in that area so critical, would you say?
Well, I mean, if your ultimate goal is to increase revenue and grow revenue, you're going to be having a lot of conversations. And, if you look back, if I can look back on how I was doing sales 5 years ago, it was literally, a document with a bunch of names and numbers. There's no way to follow up with those people, prioritize those people if they're interested in your services. So it allows them to really communicate with these people in a timely manner, follow up with them, provide next step solutions, and ultimately, potentially close them as a client. Without that automation and that software to organize, prioritize, it's virtually impossible.
I mean, these companies out there, they have a lot on their plate. They're actually wearing many hats out there. What I learned in marketing is the fact there is no magic bullet. Really, you're providing diversity across the board. And this is something that really has to give those companies some peace of mind, knowing that you're doing the heavy lifting. You're keeping updated on what is out there so they can really focus on what they do best.
Yeah, I mean, we work with companies small, medium, and enterprise size. So there's some companies out there that have an established marketing team, they have an established sales team, but they need growth kind of in the background to oversee, almost like kind of like a de facto CMO or kind of sales director role that can kind of oversee their processes. And other use cases, we have smaller companies that need us kind of like what we call hand holding, where it's like we're going to go out and build these things and keep that that continuous cadence and really help these teams be more effective. So
for a company out there that's possibly watching, they want to get back to doing what they do best. They want to maybe be involved in the marketing but not be wearing that hat in such a major way. Is it really just as simple as setting up a meeting, and is that meeting free of charge?
Yeah, that initial consult is free of charge. It's on our website, book a meeting. My face pops up as a calendar, days, time, so it's up to them to book a day and a time that works best for them, and then we schedule what's called a connect call, which allows me to have that initial introduction, learn about their company, what some of their goals and pain points are, and just kind of get that the initial intro and that level of comfort out there, and then from there we get into what we call discovery, which is a deep dive into the company, some of their major pain points, revenue goals, things of that nature, where we can really pinpoint a custom tailored solution for that client and for that company.
That is interesting. You yourself have been a director of business development for multiple companies. You've worked in corporate partnerships. You've been a CEO. You know what it's like to navigate in business. Is this rewarding for you to be able to see some of these companies take advantage of a lot of the benefits that you provide?
Yeah, absolutely, because I've been in that role before where it's running a company, so I know the pains that go into the day-to-day and managing these departments and making sure you're hitting revenue goals and operation goals and things like that nature. But now that I'm in a kind of a sales director role, it allows me to kind of implement a lot of the things that I've learned over the years to help others. Yes, we're helping grow growth, but the end-all goal that we'd love to see is helping others and seeing them achieve their goals.
Growth is not only good for the company, but growth is good for everything around us. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, you can take a look at all the services they provide for you out there. Check out the reviews. They have many resources right there. Obviously, you can learn more about their team as well. Basically, their team can help your team fill the gaps in your marketing and sales departments. Once again, that is Growth Marketing, located right here in Orlando, Florida. Grow better together. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.